إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله بالهدى ودين الحق يظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون وصلى الله تعالى على خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. وقال سبحانه وتعالى في الكتاب الكريم بعد أعوذ من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. من استقى الحديث كتاب الله وخير الحديث حديث محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم من شر الأمور محدثاتها وإن كل محدثة بدعة وإن كل بدعة ضلالة وإن ضلالة في النار. Verily all praise and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord, the cherisher, the sustainer of the world. We praise Him, we seek His help, we seek His guidance. We seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of our deeds and our actions, and whomsoever Allah guides, no one is guiding, and whomsoever He leads astray, no one is guiding. We bear witness that there is no God, no deity, worthy of being worshipped except Allah alone, bearing no partners. We bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the sign of slave, messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Verily the best speech, the book of Allah, and the best guide is the guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the worst matter and creed of those who innovate. Very innovative matter is bid'ah. Every bid'ah is misguidance, and every misguidance deserves a blazing fire. First and foremost, we want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us to be alive, for allowing us to breathe, and for allowing us to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on an auspicious day of Jum'ah. Being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows a sign of gratitude within ourselves that Allah has created us for this purpose, and that is to worship Him alone. Today's khutbah is in regards to fadail of the Quran, the benefits of the Quran, and what it entails. Before I actually go in to discuss the importance of the fadail of the Quran itself, I just want to read out one particular verse from the Quran to kind of just contemplate and appreciate what the Quran is all about. So the Quran, as we all know, that it was revealed within the 20-year time span of the Prophet's life. And when this was being revealed, it changed the history, the course of mankind as an entirety, rather be an individual basis or a collective basis. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayat al-Kursi, and we know Ayat al-Kursi has many different virtues. Of the things we know that you recite this particular surah, it helps you and it safeguards you from many harms that might come your way. But there are a lot more to it, a lot more wisdom behind this particular surah as well. So inshallah we'll discuss a little bit about that inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. So this particular ayah, subhanAllah, is magnificent. It's so magnificent. If you even take the time to contemplate over the meaning, it's magnificent. If you take the time to look into the meaning itself and how it's collaborated, it's magnificent. SubhanAllah. So Allah starts off in this verse. He says, Allah la ilaha illa. There is no God. No one has the right to worship except no one else except Himself. He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He's stating to you right now that your Lord is Allah. That's it. Nobody else. No one is even coming close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this regards to worship for Allah alone. Then He states His beautiful names, Al-Hayy al-Qayyum. He's the ever-living, the one who sustains and protects all that exists. So He's the all that ever-living, and He sustains all of us. He protects us, subhanAllah. So He's describing Himself. Who is Allah that we're worshiping? He's ever-living. He's the one that we should turn to. We ask for guidance and everything else for Allah, assistance for Allah. subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he says, لَا تَأْخُذُهُ سِنَةٌ وَلَا نَوْمٌ. So he says, neither slumber nor sleep, takes him. Sleep overtakes him. So Allah doesn't feel tired. He doesn't feel sleepy. You know how no matter how strong you are, how big a person you are, how buff you are, whatever person you are, at the end of the day, when sleep overtakes you, you get knocked out. You're done. You're gone. But it doesn't happen to Allah. Allah doesn't feel sleepy, nor does He take any sleep. He doesn't need naps. Right? We take this power nap to get us going, but Allah doesn't need that. Then He says, لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. To Him belongs all the heavens and the earth. Whatever's in the heavens and the heavens and the earth belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And His name says, مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَشْفَعُ عِنْدَهُ عِنْدَ بِإِذْنِهِ. That who is that can intercede and ask for help with and accept His permission alone. It's only Allah that can decide that. Then He goes on saying, يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُم. He knows what happens to His creations, His creatures, in this world, and what will happen to them in the hereafter. So before and after. وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. And they will never encompass anything of His knowledge except what He wills or what He wishes. وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. His kursi extends over the heavens and the earth. People ask, what's the difference between a kursi and an arsh? The kursi is like a ring that's tossed into the depth of the desert. So a ring in the middle of the desert, could you even find that? You can't. But that's Allah's arsh. I mean, His kursi compared to His arsh. SubhanAllah. So it extends over the heavens and the earth. وَلَا يَعُودُ حِفْظُهُمَا. And He feels no fatigue in guarding and preserving them. وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمُ. He's the most high and most great. Now why did I choose this particular ayah? There's a reason behind this. So the meaning behind it also is beautiful within itself. But subhanAllah, if you look at the context, the way it's written, the way it's set up, that in itself is ajib, it's really, really astonishing. So those who understand the palindrome in English language means that you can read something in a certain way, from the beginning to the end it will be the same thing. In this case, Allah has written the Quran in a way that was a palindrome in the sense of its meaning. SubhanAllah. So he starts off, he says, there's no God except Allah. He's stating that I am the one that needs to be worshipped. So I've broken down this particular surah, this verse itself, into a few numbers, sections, 9 in particular. So we can see where it matches, where it goes from the top and to the end and it matches in the middle. SubhanAllah. And it just shows the beauty of Allah and how we should be astonished with the Quran and how Allah has made this thing the way it is. So he starts off by saying that there's no God except Him. So we know that. There's no God except Allah. He's the only one. That's it. The second line that he recites to us, he says that He is the ever-living, al-hayy al-qayyum, and the one who gives sustenance. And if you look at the very last section, so section number 9, it says, وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمُ, that He is the most great, the most high, the most great. So it's describing both Allah's beautiful names in the beginning of this particular ayah and the end of this ayah as well. And you go to the following, number 2, he says, لَا تَأْخُذُهُ سِنَةٌ وَلَا نَوْمٌ, that neither slumber nor sleep, takes Him. And then the following verse from the bottom going up, number 8, he says, وَلَا يَعُودُ حِفْظُهُمَا, that He feels no fatigue whatsoever in guarding His kingdom. SubhanAllah. Look at the parable, look how they're lining up from the beginning, from the end and stuff, and they're coming together. And the third verse he says, in the third section he says, لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. To Him belongs whatever is in the heavens and the earth. So He's telling us, reminding us again, He belongs in the heavens and the earth. Then he confides it again, confirms it, he says, in the 7th section, he says, وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. He says that His kursi extends over the heavens and the earth. Again, it comes together again. So he's talking about the heavens and the earth in the beginning of the portion, and the middle as well. He's talking about how His kursi, His chair or stepping stool itself, extends over the heavens and the earth. SubhanAllah. They're coming together as well. Then he says, مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَشْفَعُ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ, that who can intercede except my permission? Who can go in there and ask for help, do all these things without my will? I'm the only one who gives that permission. That's it. Then he goes on saying, وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. And they will never encompass anything of their knowledge except His will. So you can't do anything on your own except with the will of Allah. Allah gives you that knowledge. Allah gives you that understanding so you're able to do what you do. And how does He bring it together? The verse right in the middle. He says, يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُم. So He knows what happens to the creatures in this world as well as hereafter. In other words, He knows what's going to happen before, He knows what happens at the end as well. SubhanAllah. So Allah, within His beautiful context itself, this beautiful verses, it tells a lot about the Quran. It tells a lot about how deep knowledge really is and how important we have to be more connected to the Quran itself. understanding the Quran in this sense as well. So it's appreciating the knowledge that Allah has hidden out for us to seek. And these are beyond our comprehension, and we need the teachers and everyone else to kind of teach us this, to show us the manner of the way of this beautiful ayat. So what are the benefits of the Quran? Some of the beautiful benefits of the Quran, as Allah states in the Surah, He says, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلَا يَزِيدُ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا خَسَارًا. That we set down, stage by stage, the Quran, that is a healing session, a healing and a mercy to those who believe. And it causes unjust things for those who are losers. So those who are seeking certain things from the Quran and they're not looking for the intent of the Quran itself, then they'll find themselves in a state of loss. But those who find themselves looking for thirst for knowledge and everything else, you'll find themselves in a state of healing, in a state of mercy as well. So the Quran is not a book that should be left on the bookshelves. It's a book that needs to be implemented in our lifetime. A book that will be asked on the Day of Judgment as to what have you done with the book that was given to you. Right? It's a guidance to mankind. So Allah says, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. That Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was revealed as a guidance to mankind. A guidance to mankind and a clear signs for those seeking judgment. So again, it's a reminder for ourselves that subhanAllah, this book that we have, that we take it so much for granted. And we don't need to take the time to invest to even understand the big language. I mean, subhanAllah, living here in America, we're all obligated to take Spanish courses, and you have to know some sort of Spanish. As our deen, our religion, it's the deen of Arabiya, Arabic, and we have to understand the Arabic language. If we don't invest any time in that, then how do we justify ourselves being Muslims? Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he said that learning Arabic was wajib. That's the way he made it. Because if you want to seek knowledge, you have to learn the Arabic language. There's just no way that you'll learn that all knowledge without having that true source. So it's going back, digging deep into that. And the Quran is the base of glad tidings. It's a glad tidings to human beings. It gives us, glad tidings as well as warnings. He says, إِنَّ هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ يَهْدِي لِلَّتِي هِيَ أَقْوَمُ وَيُبَشِّرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ الَّذِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ الصَّالِحَاتِ أَنَّ لَهُمْ أَجْرًا كَبِيرًا. That really this Quran does guide to the which is the most right or stable, and gives glad tidings to believers who work with deeds of righteousness, that they shall be magnificent in reward. So it's a means of bushra, a means of glad tidings. Bushrakum al-yawm, the day of judgment itself will be a day of glad tidings if we attach ourselves to the Quran. And our whole life should be based upon the Quran itself. And the Quran is also a means of shifa. We go through a lot of healing sessions. Some of us were sick, some of us have different problems in their lives. They go to doctors and they physically, examine them and give them all the medication they need. But that's the physical aspect. We also need a healing session within our hearts, and that is the Quran. So the Quran itself is a shifa, a cure to our diseases, our everything that we have in our hearts. That's where we should go and find our source. As he states, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. So we send down stage by stage the Quran, which is a healing and mercy. Right? So this, for those who are seeking this is it. So Allah has given this Quran itself a means of healing session. I saw a lot of YouTube videos where they experiment on non-believers. So they made them close their eyes, and a guy right behind them will be reciting certain verses. And they would ask that person, what do you feel after him reciting it? Do I feel this sort of emotion that's like a sad feeling or a happy feeling, like something that's really soothing? SubhanAllah. That's what the Quran does. It's a healing session. Even if you don't understand the Quran, and you listen, you learn to appreciate it, SubhanAllah. You have that love and desire for the Quran itself. So that's the kind of connection we should have within ourselves. And when we do this, Allah gives us a sense of rahman, a sense of mercy within ourselves as well. And the best part is this Quran is a means of our witness. On the Day of Judgment, when we need somebody to intercede for us, the Quran will be there for us. It will intercede on our behalf. It will speak on our behalf that so-and-so read me at this particular time, this particular date. He's always reciting it, right? So you have to encourage yourself to read. If you can't read, then you'll find somebody who can teach you how to read. And if you know how to read, then you pass it on to somebody else. And it goes on and on and on. So Allah says, أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل وقرآن الفجر إن قرآن الفجر كان مشهودا. Establish your regular prayers at the sun's decline to the darkness of the night, and recite of the Quran in the morning prayer, for the recite of the dawn is a witness. So this time of the day is to recite the Quran in the morning. When you wake up, you're fresh. First thing you think of is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, I remember, I don't know what happened. I was teaching my daughter Quran, and I kind of fell asleep as I was teaching her. That long day at work. And then I thought I was still teaching. I was already done, and I was reciting certain words out, and they're laughing at me. What are you saying, Daddy? What are you saying? But the point is, how can you get so engaged to the point where you're constantly saying this? That's what you want. If you can actually get yourself to do that on a regular basis, I know we can think about us at work myself. If you look at a technician, you're looking at machines, you know all these serial number memorized. You know all these, everything memorized, right? But why is it that we don't take enough time to memorize the Quran to the point where everything we say comes out in the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So make it ourselves, change our atmosphere in regards to the Quran, our attitude towards the Quran. And the Quran itself is another beautiful example of the group benefits that you can get out of the Quran, right? It's a time of gathering. You come early in the morning, you get together, form a halaqah, recite the Quran together, and get that brotherhood going, as well as enhancing your Quran at this state of being. And then you get beautiful reward as well. So it just states that, a person who comes to the masjid and they gather for the sake of Allah, only for this cause alone, so Allah, He descends certain things to them. He gives them mercy, He gives them peace. He sends down these angels and He speaks to them and writes highly of them in the heavens. SubhanAllah. It's something that we should kind of encourage ourselves to do. If we don't do it yet, then we slowly will work our way there, inshallah as well. So hadith of the Prophet he mentioned, he said that قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما اجتمع قوم في بيت من بيوت الله يتلون كتاب الله ويتدارسون بينهم إلا نزلت عليهم السكينة وغشيتهم الرحمة وخفتهم الملائكة وذكرهم الله فيما عنده. So any group of Muslims who meets at the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the sake of reciting the Quran and studying its meaning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them with following. Mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will descend upon them. Peace and tranquility will cover them. Angels from the heavens will encircle them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will mention them in their names in His throne. SubhanAllah. You might be nobody here on earth, but you might be somebody big up there in the heavens, and your name is mentioned before Allah's angels. Imagine that council. SubhanAllah. If we're in a council that's important here in dunya, we feel a bit, important. But imagine your name being mentioned in the council of the angels, in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How noble is that? That's a noble status. And we can even, engage ourselves with something simple as this, which Allah will brag about in the Day of Judgment as well. And the best of all is, it's for everyone. The Quran is for everyone. Even if you're struggling, it's still for you. If you're struggling, you get triple the reward, right? The thought of trying to read it, the ajr of reading itself, and going through all the struggles, you're getting the reward of all these things, subhanAllah. And those who can recite, mashallah, they're getting different awards for that. Very many hadith in regards to earning the values, the benefits of it. It states in the hadith, it says, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من قرأ حرف من كتاب الله فله حسنة والحسنة بعشر أمثالها لا أقول ألف لام ميم حرف ولكن ألف حرف ولام حرف وميم حرف. So a beautiful hadith that reminds us, and sometimes we forget the beauty behind it. Just saying alif lam mim, each letter is worth 10 hasanat. You get 30 hasanat for saying one word, subhanAllah. How beautiful is the Quran, and how virtuous and how rewarding is the Quran itself. So we have to be able to try to engage ourselves in doing this kind of things, inshallah. And a little quick note for all of us here. If you want to be able to read the entire Quran in one night, and it might seem impossible to all of us, including myself, all you have to do is recite Surah Al-Ikhlas 3 times. And it's worth the Quran itself, subhanAllah. So Allah is giving us many ways to earn this ajr, earn this reward. But we got to keep ourselves engaged and always doing this, inshallah, as well. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make some of those who attach our hearts with the Quran, make some of those who listen, understand, and promote it as well, inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin, Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. So Allah subhanahu reminds us in regards to reciting the Quran. He says, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. So when the Quran is being read, listen to it with attention. Pay attention to it. And hold your peace that may you receive the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ramadan is around the corner. So if you want to engage yourself, I know I'm myself as well. If you pick up the Quran, listen 5-10 minutes, I'm tired. Right, we're done. If you read a good novel, mashallah, my daughter can read Harry Potter, the whole book in 2-3 weeks. I don't know how you do it. We don't get bored of it. But for some reason, when you read the Quran, it becomes heavy for us. Why is that? So we have to engage ourselves. We have to taste that tilawat of the Quran, that sweetness of the Quran. If we haven't tasted it, then we have to work our way there as well. So what are the etiquettes? What are the things we have to do in order to engage ourselves with the Quran, inshallah? Some of the etiquettes that we have to have in regards to reciting the Quran is that we should listen to the recitation of the Quran. Some of us want to improve our Quran. So what's the secret? How do you do it? Wallahi, there is no secret. Just read and read and read and read. And as a teacher, when you tell your students, how do you get better? It's easy. Just read and read and read. Read that page 20,000 times. I'm sure you'll get better. As simple as that. So you read to the point where you got it memorized. You got it down, right? To that sense. So, and listening to the Quran. Listen to different recitations. It's beautiful, subhanAllah. Everyone has their own mix, everyone has their own way, but you can tell the emotion behind it as well. So listen to it, inshallah. Please make a way forward, inshallah. I think there's people or brothers in the back that have no room, so please help your way up as well. And then you should recite the Quran during your salah, as well as this time is in Fajr. So recite the Quran, prolong your Quran in this particular time as well. We should attend a lot of group sessions, group Quran recitations, so we can better ourselves in the Quran recitation, with the halaqas. We should attend group discussions, tafsirs. Many tafsir classes are being held. There's one currently being held in Dar Falah on Wednesday nights. So after Isha prayers or before Isha prayers. So there's many opportunities for you can actually to get engaged and to learn more about the deen as well in regards to the Quran. And joining the Khatam Quran sessions when people are being done, and engaging yourself on a daily basis to recite surahs. These are things that inshallah on the day of judgment, they'll be there for you in the day of judgment. They'll say that so-and-so read me, and so-and-so did this to me, so I will be a witness from the day of judgment as well. So Allah subhanahu has made this a way that, that it's easy for us to read. He made the Quran for us to read in an easy manner as well. And if all this thing is not convincing enough to you that the Quran is not important, then look what Allah says about this, the Quran itself. He says, لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. How we sent down this Quran, subhanAllah. When Allah created the earth is a sphere object. It's a wobbly object. It's not strong. So Allah put mountains as pegs to stabilize the earth. So Allah is saying here that had the Quran was sent down to the mountains, it would have made it crumble. Crumble, it would crush it. It would destroy us how powerful the Quran is. But yet it came to Muhammad in his heart and is giving it to us. How strong of a value Quran do we have in our hearts? Is the value that strong to us as well? To the point that this Quran were to descend on something that is like that, a natural resource, it gets destroyed. SubhanAllah, how valuable is the Quran that we have that we take for granted? So, had we sent down the Quran on a mountain, verily, you should have seen it humble itself and cleave asunder for fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the mountains would be a fear of Allah. Such is the similitude which we propound to men that they may reflect. So Allah is giving us that privilege, that honor to recite this book of His, to be engaged in the book of His. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst those who always engage ourselves in the Quran and to keep us motivated, inshallah, in this state of being as well, inshallah. استغفر ربكم إنه كان غفورا. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد أو كذا محمد وعلى محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى إبراهيم. So Allah says, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. Allah burdens not a person beyond his scope. He gets reward for that good that which he has earned, and he is punished for what he has earned. Our Lord punishes not if we were to forget or fall into error. Our Lord, they not on us a burden like that, which did they upon those before us, Jews and Christians. Our Lord put not on us a burden greater than we have strength to bear. Pardon us, forgive us, have mercy upon us. You are our Mawla, our protector. Really, the victor is amongst the disbelievers. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be amongst those who really truly love the Quran for what it's worth, inshallah. إن الله يعلم ما في الإنسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون.